to fit in this hole. Part of this piece of wood already fits, so we're just going to do side to side. And basically what you're going to do, again, depends on the plans. Sometimes people want the tenon to be offset, or sometimes you want them in the middle. In this case, we're going to do it in the middle, and you actually take the wood you want and mark it based on the actual mortise opening. At this point, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a couple marks there, and I'm just going to do this. And how deep we want it, well, I didn't really measure this, so I'm just going to go by approximate. At this point, we don't really care. You can make it deeper. So what we got to do is we're just going to cut these little spots off. And how we do that? Again, we go back to either the scroll saw, which you can do, and I'm going to do that real quick. Now I do this with a table saw with big things. So the scroll saw is just, and then we take the chisel. Oh, that one's a little tougher. All right, because we're going against the grain. Now you could go this way, but be careful. The wood is sharp, and this chisel is sharp. Oh, be careful. Yeah, I'm going against the grain here. Normally, let me try to do the same thing here. Oh, we'll take care of that real quick. Since I'm going against the grain, I'll use my mallet. I could have cut it also with that little saw, but there's really not a lot of room here. Then I take this and fit it in the mortise and tap it in because it's tight, and there is a mortise and tenon joint. It's really simple. If the wood was bigger, if this was bigger, in fact, we can take. Let me see if I got it. All right, let me do this. I'll cut this. Now, let's say we want to make a tenon on this piece of wood. We'd still do the exact same procedures, but this way. Okay, we have here and here. So I mark that, and I mark this one, and of course I go down all the way on both sides so I can see it. The chances are pretty good that this is going to be big. All right. Now I can cut these off, take these out. But I can do it with the saw, or I can do it with this guy. And then we're not going very deep, so we'll just do it with the scroll saw real quick. Since it's a bit thicker, we can use the scroll saw. Go real quick. Oops. But good idea if I mark it all the way around. All right, now we can go to the ends. Okay. Now this still won't fit. It will fit this way. Oh, yeah, it's kind of tight, but we can. But now we need to do the other side. How do we do that? Same way. We just mark it where we want to cut it. The right size. Okay, so and we can do that from right here. I got to stand up for this. Normally I do this on the table saw or the band saw, sometimes the router. The scroll saw works just fine. All right, let's see how bad. Let's see how much it fits. I know it's not going to fit perfectly. It's pretty close. I could do one of two things. I can make the mortise bigger, or I can make the tenon smaller. In this case, I'm going to make the mortise just a little bigger. Any type of work I do, I always have to adjust each mortise. So it's not as if everything's perfect, comes out perfect every time. This is pretty much every woodworker who does this has to do this on every single mortise and tenon. So if you have to do it, it's because everybody else does it this way. There we go. Let me put a little tap on it, and there it goes. It stays on there. Not perfect, not a perfect fit, but you get the idea, I think. It's not a perfect fit. There's a little gap here, but you get the idea. Hopefully, this should show you how to do a mortise. And a mortise is a square hole on a tenon. You could, and I don't recommend it for the small plywood, you could just use, drill a hole here, drill a hole here on the bottom of this, put a small dollar rod in here and do it this way. You can glue it that way. Nobody, unless they take it apart, nobody's going to know the difference. So that's it for that. I'm going to have one more. I'm going to show you how to tune up the blade, and I'm going to show you a little bit about it, about this squirrel saw. Most of them are the same. It's similar.